If there are 200 million people, like out of 500 million internet users in India, if half of them are on TikTok, you have to be on TikTok, even if you don't enjoy it. I think that is the core of it. If you just be at it, where is the technology and consumer behavior moving? Rest everything I think will fall in place. Whenever you are using a product, for example, you go to a restaurant, like you order food from Zomato. Start thinking, what are the different things which would be happening in this whole process? Like, why is it that I'm seeing this restaurant only on top? And when I apply this, what happens when, how will this order be received by a merchant? How does he come to know? How is this rider assigned? How many riders will they have to keep? Like, start thinking, how is this product being done eventually, right? It's not just the front end, by the way. Product is not just what you see, but the whole thing in the back end.
Are product managers in demand in India is the most Googled question when people look for product management. Product managers are pivotal to the success of any company, and hence the demand has more or less been there forever. The other question that a lot of people have in their mind is, how do you actually become a product manager? You do an MBA, you do some sort of other course. How do you get there? So we thought, let's figure this out by talking to a product manager himself who has worked with some of the well-known startups and companies in the past, ranging from MakeMyTrip.com to Nearby to Magic Bricks to Max Life Insurance and to now Spinny. I have with me Shailendra Nath Jha, who has spent almost a decade in product management and is now guiding students and preparing the next set of product managers in India. Hi Shailendra, and welcome to Inside Eye.
Hi. How are you doing?
Shailendra, I'm completely fine. Very interested in knowing you as a person, very interested in knowing where exactly the journey started for you. So if you can tell me, Shailendra, a little bit about the beginning of your higher education. Was engineering always a plan that you had?
I think as most of the Indians growing up in small cities, that too I was in that time it was Bihar and now it is Jharkhand.
Right.
Place. We have this huge craze for getting into UPSC and civil services. And I think I also had some, but not because I wanted to, but because of my parents and stuff, you can say. And in fact, I joined engineering only because I thought that engineers have a better chance of qualifying for UPSC and civil services exams and nothing else.
You think in your mind that maybe I'm cut out for something else, but you don't know what that else is. What is that option, right? Was that for you as well, immediately after or during your engineering, that you thought that I have to combine my skills? What was that combination like? How did that combination start for you?
When I was doing that role as a software engineer, I was very much interested in why am I doing whatever I am doing. I still remember that there was one bug fix which I had to do, and it took me almost 2-3 months. And then I asked my supervisor that whatever I have done, like what will happen after this? Like what have I changed? I changed that code, I fixed that code, but what is the impact? And he did not have an answer. My supervisor also was like, I don't know. We were just told to do this and we've done this. And then my boss also called me next day and he's like, he's so much interested in knowing the business side of it, or you actually understanding what is the impact you have created. Then probably this is not the role. Even then I had no idea about what product management and stuff is all about. But at least that was the trigger which pushed me towards sort of from left brain to the right brain of things. That I think was the trigger.
I think, Shailendra, that's when the ISP call also came in.
Yes.
For you. What was that program like? How did that alter your thoughts in your journey?
The reason I wanted to join there, because as I said, I wanted to understand more on the business side of things. And then fortunately, I met one person who was from Google, and he was a product manager there. And when I was speaking to him, I asked him, what do you do? And and the way he told me what's his role was, I was like, this is what I want to do, because this is exactly what I think I was looking for. And then I spoke to somebody who was from Yahoo. And when I explained to him what I want to do, and he said, forget brand management, you are made for product management.
When you heard this from person who was working with Yahoo, did you also think that, if somebody like him is working in Yahoo and somebody like him can work in a Google, there is definitely a lot of potential and scope as a product manager? Was that something that you also thought in your mind back then? Or was it a choice because specifically the kind of work that you were going to do as a product manager that pulled you?
I don't think it was only because of like popular companies and I got glued there. It was more around the kind of work they were talking about. It was like talking to customers, looking at designs, thinking about how a product should be, and actually thinking like a long term, like in 2 years, how will this pan out? Those were the things which actually interested me.
Super. Shailendra, you mentioned about how things were shaping up and how you were excited to see that. And at that point in time, MakeMyTrip was also shaping up, right? And it was the firm that you joined right after your B school. What are some of the stories that have stayed with you? What all have you worked on with MakeMyTrip? And was that a budding ground for you to, become the product manager that you are?
After I had joined, actually, I think I got fortunate because they were actually trying to build a mobile ecosystem, and it was 2011-12 where we only had a BlackBerry app, and I was also new to mobile. Like I did not even own a mobile phone or a smartphone, so for me everything was learning through doing it, and from first principle, like imagining how a user would be using a mobile phone, in which scenarios, and what are the difficulties he might face. Doing a lot of user testing, speaking to users, actually spending a lot of time, because I was managing primarily the hotel business on mobile. So it kind of helped me a lot and honestly, I did not have an option, because that is the only way I could have understood how this is all panning out. And even today, because I've learned it like that, I force and tell everybody who is a product manager to actually do it this way, because that's the only way I have understood. Basically, the point is that I learned it on the go, and with the people, with the users, in front of the users, and that I think was the best thing which could have happened to me.
To prepare future product managers, what skills do you think that they should acquire right now? What should they be focusing on so that they are ready for the future, right?
You have to be a constant learner throughout. It does not matter if you, like for example, I have worked for almost 15-16 years now. Can I say that I don't need to learn any longer, because I will be redundant in 1 year's time, right?
Absolutely. Because so now mobiles are working, tomorrow something else will work.
Exactly. Nowadays, people are using mobile and new technologies in fundamentally different ways than what we had ever imagined. So, how do you still keep a track of where the consumer behavior is moving? How are people now reacting, doing? If there are 200 million people, like out of 500 million internet users in India, if half of them are on TikTok, you have to be on TikTok, even if you don't enjoy it. I think that is the core of it. If you just be at it, where is the technology and consumer behavior moving? Rest, everything I think will fall in place.
Shailendra, you also come up with a bag full of experiences, if I have to say. It's been almost 10 years or more that you are in product management, right? And you have now decided to associate yourself with Masters Union for their product management bootcamp that's happening. What exactly attracted you at the first place when you actually got to know about this program, and how do you think this is going to be a different sort of a program which will assess the strengths and weaknesses of the students and help them in learning?
When I came to know about Masters Union and when they approached me, the fact that the thing which I liked was it is going to be taught exclusively by practitioners like me, who have actually done it, who are doing it, who are in this industry. The things which we teach are far from theory. It is all practical case studies, and things which I've told them instances as recent as yesterday. Like yesterday I was doing this, and so that it's very fresh and right out of the oven, as they say, to them. So that is one thing I think which is closest to you getting real experience, because real experience obviously they will get when they start doing product management. But most of these people who want to get into product management, they will have a very good understanding, like a balcony view of how this movie plays out, and you will actually get your hands dirty also in the process. You will be working on a lot of case studies and stuff, so it will prepare them, and that is what I liked about this, and I thought I should be associated.
what does exactly a hiring company look for in a product manager candidate when they are doing? Because now you also hire, I'm sure, a lot of candidates every year, and you also look for certain skills from these people, right? And how do you think this program that you're associated with can help students in getting that?
So there are two things. First, we are looking at raw freshers who can be turned into product managers. The roles are typically associate product managers or interns. The ones which get tricky are people who have 4, 5, 6 years of experience, but not product experience, and they want to get into product. For them, doing an MBA also, I'm not sure how helpful. Obviously, if they have very relevant experience, as in suppose they have worked in a product company, but not as a product manager. They have worked as a Scrum Master or as a developer or as a QA or as a project manager. What courses like Masters Union, etc., they do is actually fit mostly for people who have actually done some bit of work, and they are like 3, 4 years, 5 years, even 7, 8 years experience, and now they want to get into product management, and they don't have time to do a regular 1 year or a 2-year MBA. They actually have sufficient information and they understand how business work, how corporate works, and technology works, but they don't know this process of product management. But they get to understand the nuances of product management through people who are already doing it, who are in this industry, who are working in it, and then actually start moving into product management roles. That is how I think this program is slightly different from the MBA programs.
Shailendra, some time back we discussed about the evolving nature of product management, the evolving nature of products themselves, right, and the services that they are providing to people at large. In this perspective, how important is design thinking? Where do you place it when it comes to product management, and what sort of a learning around this students should acquire so that they are ready for making cutting edge products in the future?
This is actually a good question which you have asked, because I wanted to clarify a lot of myths around design. Because when we talk about, and I take a lot of classes, so whenever I ask this question, I get same answer, that when I ask students what is design, they start thinking Figma and Sketch and Adobe Photoshop, which it is not, which it is like maybe 20% or 25%. In fact, if you look at the design thinking whole process, it is divided into 5 steps, out of which only 2 steps actually talk about creating something on paper or on software. 3 steps are actually about understanding the problem, empathizing with the problem, validating the problem, etc. Because many a times the problem is not actually what it appears. It is actually something very, very different, something very deep. But only when you think about it more, you will get to know what the true problem is.
Shailendra, before I let you go, one last question. People who are genuinely interested in becoming product managers, irrespective of what field they come from, right? What should be your advice to them so that they are ready for the future, ready for the cutting edge market that they're going to be part of, and the products that they need to design and think and come up with?
Be an astute observer. So whenever you are using a product, for example, you go to a restaurant, like you order food from Zomato, start thinking, what are the different things which would be happening in this whole process? Like, why is it that I'm seeing this restaurant only on top? And when I apply this, what happens how will this order be received by a merchant? How does he come to know? How is this rider assigned? How many riders will they have to keep? Like, start thinking, how is this product being done eventually, right? It's not just the front end, by the way. Product is not just what you see, but the whole thing in the back end. You start questioning, because all these are design related questions. These are not some logistics or something else. These are all product based. So you have to constantly keep looking, observing things around. It will just sharpen your product sense and your ability to understand, imagine, evaluate. Maybe you're not working with those companies, but it just keeps you prepared.
Absolutely brilliant, Shailendra. I had a gala time talking to you. The kind of clarity you have, the kind of vision you have with the with the space that you are in, right, and the conviction with which you keep on learning is something that is something that I'm going to take back from this conversation. I hope that the people who are listening to this conversation do get back something as well. And if you want to know more about the course that Shailendra is part of, Shailendra is mentoring and tutoring, there's a link in the description. You can go check that out. If you have any questions, do leave your comment on the comment box, and we will make sure that some of these questions go to people like Shailendra so that they can answer your queries. Thank you once again, Shailendra, for joining with us and talking to us about your life, your journey, and how you can become a better product manager.
Thanks so much.